Early on in the movie, one character asks another, what's the worst that could happen? Certainly a question that you always want asked in a horror movie, and absolutely a question that doesn't spell impending doom for any characters that are on screen or any characters in the periphery. Honestly, whenever you're asking, what's the worst that could happen? Honestly, it's just going to be sunshine, lollipops, and rainbow waterfalls, and no killing will happen in a horror movie. But apparently, the questioner was not satisfied with the answer from the questionee, because not even 2 minutes later, the questioner asked the questionee the same goddamn question, word for word. What's the worst that could happen? Did she not hear the questionee's answer? Did she not think that the questionee heard her? Did she think that the questionee forgot that she asked her that? Maybe the questioner sustained several major head injuries. Maybe both characters are just goddamn idiots and can't remember what they did 5 minutes ago. But honestly, asking what's the worst that could happen, well, there's almost an omen of things to come and kill her goats, written, produced, and directed by Steve Walsh. That's Walsh with an O, not with an A. He did a film called Muck back in 2015. This has Kane Hodder, who played the later incarnations of Jason, yes, Jason Voorhees, and has played the hulking serial killer figure in various horror movies of varying quality. Nice guy. From interviews, or at least based on interviews, and a big hulking presence, but you know what? He fits the serial killer subgenre, and he gets to show off his skills here as a character called Goatface. No, not Ghostface, a man wearing a mask of a goat. The head of a goat, seemingly, like he's goddamn Mantar. Not trying to get in a wrestling ring, thankfully. Boy, that was a really great goddamn idea, but nevertheless, enough about 1995 WWE wrestling. If you are a non-wrestling fan, you have no idea what I'm goddamn talking about. And if you are a Mantar fan, all 5 of you, please shout out your favorite Mantar moments in the comments. So, yeah, Kane Hodder's in this, and there are a few other people in it. I don't know if this movie really stars anybody, but you have Audra, who gets the house of her dreams. It's Ariel Racine, who just bounces around and skips around everything because she's got a Cape Cod dream house that apparently was owned by a family called the Tups with 2 P's. We find this out in an opening text where they were whalers on Cape Cod, and then they got some sod and farmed and whaled and did some tales and sung their whaling tune. But of course, even after having a housewarming party, well, let's just say that certain things are going on, like, oh, there are certain people that aren't happy that this house got sold, and they're going to make sure that Audra and her friends, Missy, played by Ellie Gonsalves, and a couple other, well, actually, there's one other in there, a character named Reese, they're going to make sure that they pay dearly for taking over the Tup house, even though when houses are on the market, that's usually how things work. And then we get just endless, things happening eventually, kinda, maybe. Okay, a few facts about this movie. The advertising I always saw said, all practical effects, no CGI. Okay, that's cool. Whether it's budgetary constraints or you just want to go back to practical effects. Practical effects, when you just do those right, honestly, they are timeless. They really are timeless, especially if you know what you're goddamn doing. And apparently, according to the credits, this had 12 executive producers that were listed, and it was a Kickstarter funded horror movie. Now, credit to Steve Walsh and others, whoever set up the Kickstarter, for getting this funded. You want to throw your money towards something, help a filmmaker achieve their dream, and push on maybe to do bigger and better things later in their life. Cool. They want to bring something that they, a throwback to 80s slashers, exploitation, all that stuff, blood, boobs, and all that, and really, really ditzy dialogue. Sure, that's fine. You can do that, and all good. All credit to everybody for getting this off the goddamn ground, because it's hard to make a goddamn movie. And there's nothing wrong with having a throwback to 80s slashers, exploitation, maybe even 70s, that kind of stuff, and just treating women like the dits as they are, but then maybe having women be empowered by the end and doing all this crazy stuff and blood-soaked and everything, and yeah, that would be great. And I'm just going to say right now, while I give credit for that stuff happening, this is one of the worst goddamn movies that I have seen over the last 5 to 10 years. I mean, it was marketed as a horror movie. It's only horrifying that this film was the final product. This is 99 minutes, and it barely has enough material for half that. I understand wanting to have a little bit of fun with the movie, but it's not funny. You don't like any of the characters in this goddamn movie. And I don't understand how this thing was made the way it was made, and they thought, okay, yeah, this is good enough. Let's not do a retake. Let's do this. There's an outtake reel at the end, by the way, in the end credits. That's about the only spoiler I'm going to provide here until I get into spoilers. Not that there's much to really spoil in this, but the practical effects are well done, I will say that. But this movie has large chunks that could have been cut out. I would say at least 80% of the scenes could have had 10 to 15 seconds cut out. There are long panning shots. There are moments that are repeated for comedy, breaking wine glasses, people acting stupid, people acting dumber and dumber and dumber, to the point you're just like thinking, are these people able to get dressed? Are they able to even get out of bed on their own? Because you have to wonder about that. There is a point where the character of Audra is just wandering around. She talks to the groceries in her car. She talks when she's out, she's at the house or whatever. She talks to the house. She's talking to the little shed over there. She's talking to the various inanimate objects or whatever, as opposed to the inanimate objects that we're seeing on camera. And I know that's mean, because I'm sure they're nice people. I'm sure they are. But this is barely Cinemax After Dark levels of acting. And Ellie Gonsalves has been in some, decent movies, or at least a few of them. The thing is I don't expect much when I see a film, like Kill Her Goats, when I read up on it and everything, and I'm like, okay, this might be entertaining. The opening scene with a couple of people getting killed in a tent actually was the best part of the goddamn movie. In fact, had they just kept that pace, that would have been fine. But then it seemingly abandons the fact that this is about anything, involving a serial killer until literally almost an hour into the movie. After that opening sequence, we just forget. Apparently Kane Hodder's check didn't clear or something, or maybe he just decided I'm just going to do a few things and that's it. I am actually baffled that this movie got the length that it got. Like, really? Like, the practical effects, again, that's where the money went, and that's fine. They look pretty good. When there was blood-soaked massacre stuff going on, I don't even think massacre is actually a goddamn word, but it is now. And yes, the girls were all booby-like and everything, and there was the Night of the Living Dead part where, since that's in the public domain, they can do that. Then there was another movie a little bit earlier on that was kind of shown, but kind of wasn't. I have to assume that was the movie Muck that Steve also did. I assume. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen the movie. But I'm guessing that maybe that's how they were able to show something a little bit more recent than Night of the Living Dead 1968 version. But everybody in this movie is a monumental fucking idiot. There are lengthy scenes of, like, Missy, Ellie's character, dealing with nightmares, a lot of nightmares. There are massive, obvious green screen effects. There's endless padding in this. And for something that could have been at least halfway entertaining, I'm like watching this like, why is any of this happening? Why is any of this going on? And the whole idea of having the big reveal, the shocking reveal of who is behind all this stuff, it's not goddamn shocking. They telegraphed the goddamn thing from the beginning. If you make it entertaining, you don't have to worry about telegraphing shit. It's not entertaining. It's not good. It's not comical. Except comical that they thought, oh yeah, these scenes are great. We'll just go with that. We won't bother to say, hey ladies, could you not act like fucking 5-year-olds with brain injuries? Again, I'm sure they're lovely people, but the way that they came across here, my God, it was literally like taking ditzy models and saying, go out there and act. And they're in over their goddamn head. Or maybe the movie just was produced to just be entertainment, and they forgot to put the entertainment in it. And I'm sorry, I admire the fact, again, it got funded on Kickstarter, but this is terrible. This is subjectively terrible. I hated this. I did pay a few bucks to watch it on Amazon. Why is that? Because I'm going to support a movie regardless of whether I hate it. I paid twice as much to watch the goddamn Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie, which was also abysmal. And that's fine. I'll throw money towards the filmmakers because a few bucks out of my pocket and more people doing that, it helps fund and they push on to do bigger and better things. But my God, there is lazy. There is just trying to have fun, and there is egregiously, offensively lazy like this. This is bad. This is really goddamn bad. You can watch it if you want to get some entertainment, but it's just anytime the movie tries to come alive, you stop caring. By the time the movie tries to come alive in the third act, or at least the last number of minutes, I'm like, okay, I don't care. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking goddamn care. I mean, yeah, the blood, the boobies, that kind of stuff and everything, but the endless padding and the fact that apparently the character of Audra just wants to take showers into the night. I mean, literally, she gets in the shower, it's daytime. Even at the sun's setting, it doesn't take that long to shower unless you're an idiot and you don't know how to operate things. Which, the character, I believe that. Not saying the person. There's also text and introducing the various characters, and they tried to do the grindhouse thing. Again, there were elements that could have worked. And they didn't bother to follow up on any of that stuff. They almost seemed to indicate that we were going to get a possible sequel. Dear fucking God, I hope not. Let's see what else Steve Walsh can do. Maybe I'll watch Muck at some point. Maybe Muck ended up being entertaining. I don't know. I hated this. I hate everything about this. And even the good stuff just immediately got stamped to goddamn, pounded down and everything. Nothing about this is good. I hated this. Still, rent it. Don't pirate it. Rent it. Maybe you'll feel differently. Let's not pirate movies. Let's celebrate and, support the filmmakers the best we can. Let's get into spoilers. It won't take very long. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay. We have an opening scene with an older guy and a blonde with her tits out, and seemingly this is implied that it is the daughter of Audra and her sister Haley that shows up later. And then he's killed, and the young girl that's with him is killed. Her neck's chopped up, and she's killed, and he's killed while being trapped in the tent. And then that's basically it. We get the opening text of also with Thomas Graham Tupp was born, during the maiden voyage of the Little James in 1623. And this is an accurate retelling, or an accurate depiction of what happened when somebody bought the Tupp house in Cape Cod. An accurate recounting. Whatever. So, there was a large point where there was Devin, Audra's ex, she's coming back, she has bought the house. She's got her friends, Missy and Reese, and they see that the boyfriend's got this hot young thing that it's like this movie at points seemed like it was in danger of being confiscated while I watched it because of how exploitative it was. And then we get, then we go to the town of West Craven, which I assume is a real place. I don't care if it is, but anyway, this is stretched the fuck out. There's Audra talking to the groceries, talking to the little shed, talking to inanimate objects, constantly just wandering around the goddamn... It looks like a nice pristine house to retire in, but Jesus Christ. I remember after the opening scene, I'm thinking, did they forget this was about a serial killer? By the way, they did 10 takes, and that was the best wine opening scene. I kid, of course. Had to use the old Mr. Burns line. The terrible green screen effects, the fact that once the friends arrive, there's more bad acting. Wine glass breaking becomes the prevalent goddamn thing. There are 2 wine glasses broken, one on the floor, one on the goddamn, ground, when Audra is taking, the 5th hour of her shower, as it were. And meanwhile, they're just focusing on these 3 friends. There's a little bit of haunting stuff. Missy's having some nightmares and everything. They're talking. They said it's Cape Cod. Every place is creepy and quaint, which I've never been to Cape Cod, but I assume so. And they're just wandering around. All these scenes are happening, which is technically true of any movie, but I'm just juggling a lot of these scenes here because none of this really matters. But we get stupid conversations, we get dumb conversations, or we get morons. That these 3 stupid morons, characters, that are so unlikable and so stupid. It's not even like, oh, one's a bitch or one's this. No, they're just all brainless. It's like they all had their brainstems detached before they started acting. And there is one particular piece that I want to read right here. This is word for word what was said by Missy to Audra and Reese. They're watching a horror movie. Oh, I'm just like, oh man, this movie again. I hate scary movies. Oh, come on, Missy, don't be such a pussy. I'm sorry, I don't like stupid horror movies with stupid naked chicks running around getting chainsawed or whatever. We're being meta. Fucking dare you, Killer Goats. Killer Goats, man. Killer Goats would have been a lot better. I would have popped for Killer Goats. It could have been like Goat Simulator. Except Goat Simulator had more thought put into it than this. This is offensive and painful is what I wrote down. Offensive just because it got put on film. Again, credit to the Kickstarter. The more nightmare sequences. Why is any of this happening is what I wrote down. Night of the Living Dead, no. You know, they go... The two go to bed. Audra stays awake. And then... Reese ends up having a nightmare that she got her feet licked. Well, they don't have... It's like, she's like, you have a dog? I don't have a dog. My dad has a dog, but he's not here. And then... They're doing another thing where Audra's hopping up on the bed like she did before. She's doing cartwheels, skipping around early in the movie saying, I have a dog, like she's a fucking child. And then she hops up on the bed again, holding a knife. 3 little monkeys hopping on the bed. One banged his head, I think. I forget. It's a nursery rhyme that I heard when I was a kid. So, the phones are gone. Suddenly, seemingly. Who took the phones? We find out later. When you find your phone, Google imaginary dog. God, if only I Googled halfway decent, coherent, non-stupid bitches. That's unfair. I'm sorry to anybody if you happen to be watching this and you were in this movie, but as a horror movie fan, this offended me because any of the good parts were immediately stamped out by goddamn stupidity and laziness. So anyway, a goat shows up. Why not? There were goat prints. At least they showed goats. A few goats. I think it was like 3. There were 3 goats listed in the credits. I'm not kidding, by the way. And then, suddenly Goatface shows up. It's like 57 minutes in. Of an hour and 39-minute movie. And he shows up and he's got his chainsaws with sparklers on them. Why? Why? By the way, the characters are listed as Evil Batman. Just want to say right there for whatever reason. And then they run out the door, but Ellie Gonzalez is still sleeping. We have to go get her. You wait out here and count to 180. That's unfair. Reese's character can't count to 180. She probably can't even figure out how to do 180 if you spotted her the 1, the 8, and the 0. She'd jumble them. It'd be like a lobotomized cat trying to figure out the cup trick. I'm sorry for being mean. Except I'm not, because I hate every single character in this goddamn movie. But she goes back in there. It's okay. He's gone now, despite the fact we just saw him over there in the corner. You wait out here in your underwear and your top, by the way. And Missy heads back, excuse me. Missy is off camera, by the way. Killed off camera. And then Reese is killed by being impaled. More on that later. Now it's only Audra. She stabs the guy when he tries to kill her. And then stab, stab, stab when they get into the boathouse. A scene that takes about 5 centuries to finish. And she kills him and decapitates him. Why won't you die? And then Audra suddenly just goes insane. Or she's possessed by a ghost. I refuse to care by this point. Suddenly a sports car shows up. It's Haley, the younger, older sister. It's really hard to tell with any characters. It's even harder to care. She said that her ex-husband, well now ex-husband, asked for a divorce while their dad was dying, her and Audra's dad, and now she's going to kill and now she wants to cut him up into 406 pieces. This is unfair. None of these characters can count that high. So anyway, so Goatface suddenly attacks her. She hits him with a wine bottle and he's down immediately. And then he tries to get her. And it turns out that it's her ex-husband who killed the dad because he wanted half the inheritance. All of this stuff is being shoved down our throats and right into our faces, and basically we're being buried in this stuff really goddamn quickly. And then Audra shows back up and hits him with an axe. Even though Haley hates him, and says just a bit ago that she wanted to chop him up into pieces, we need to show him mercy. He killed our dad, and you want to show him mercy? Fine, we'll chop up. And then Audra's chopping, but then Haley runs, so she throws the axe at her and grabs the other axe, and then they start battling. Because we've just given up trying to figure out what the hell's going on here and why it's happening. Maybe she's possessed. I mean, maybe she went mad. I don't really goddamn care at this point, because none of those explanations justify the fact this movie's still fucking going. None of those facts, none of those storyline purposes justify the fact that this movie exists. The goats are lost, by the way. Devin and his girlfriend are there. His new girlfriend. They set up this thing to terrify her with the goats. And the people that were dressed as goat face, I don't know, terrify her with the goats. Apparently she was scared of goats in a previous life, or goats ate her mother. Like zombies ate my neighbors. And then Audra shows up in one of the only halfway decent scenes, where she's showing up in the background, and then she axes Devin and kills him, and then beats the shit out of the girlfriend on the beach, saying he was trying to help you. What was he trying to help her with? Finish the movie quicker? Boy, I really do like Devin now, and I'm sorry he died. And then Audra realizes everybody's dead, except Reese, who is still alive while being impaled through the spine and chest. And she smothers her. And then puts the sign back up that she had taken out, the for sale sign, and leaves. Now we get an outtake reel at the end. This is one of the worst movies of the goddamn year. I hated this. I absolutely hated this. I wish for everybody to get work still. I just absolutely hated this movie. Every aspect of it, because any of the good was immediately stamped out by the bad. I hated it. That's it. F. One of the worst goddamn things I've seen this year. Holy hell, this was rotten. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickman. I'll see you soon.